Happy Thursday, everybody. Josh here with On the Wrong Lead. Joined as always by Mr. Andrew Champagne for another episode of Drank and Champagne. Andrew, we're testing some new stuff out today. Funny enough, for those who are watching on YouTube, I didn't turn our cameras off for the intro because this new thing I'm testing out doesn't allow for that right now. And it's funny because I think you do the same exact thing I do when the music comes on, just kind of start nodding your head a little bit. So I do appreciate that because that's what I'm doing when I'm playing it. And sometimes I just want to listen to the song longer. And
Josh,
I
I just wanted to make sure you weren't alone. That's me being the good, kindly, modest co-host that I am.
Oh, well, I appreciate you. We'll give you a little clap there. Yeah, I figured we would sit down and talk a little bit about last week's Belmont. It was a great card on Saturday. It was a great day of racing. Some people are calling it the greatest day of racing for a couple of years now. The last couple of years that they could remember. So we'll talk a little bit, I think, about that. Get your reaction, I think, to the success that was the Belmont at Saratoga. But Andrew, I would be remiss.
We have, if I may say, a brand new segment on this week's edition of Drank and Champagne. We got some fan mail. Yes, we do. If you would like to send us fan mail, first of all, why? Second of all, we highly encourage that. Get in touch with either Josh or myself, and we will more than happily unbox literally anything legal that you send us through the postal mail. So if this is something that by the grace of God you're interested in, by all means, get in contact with us, get in contact with some of the other On the Wrong Lead guys. If you want to send the most handsome man in the On the Wrong Lead family some dirty pictures or whatever, and may put him in a compromising situation, what have you, by all means.
DMs are open.
Yes, his DMs are indeed open, and so too is his mailbox. We can make this stuff happen, people. Just get in contact with us. Anyway, I have here a package from the village of Cambridge, New York, and one Mark Capitan. I have not opened this, as you can see. See, everything's completely intact. I have a hunch as to what's in here, but I am not going to fully divulge what that hunch is. So we're going to unbox this now for those of you that are watching this on YouTube. For those of you that are listening on your podcast provider of choice, you're just going to have to imagine this. Josh, if you'd like to narrate, please feel free to do so.
And Andrew with a sharp set of keys, which I believe is also what I usually use to open up boxes, and people make.
Who doesn't? If you don't use keys, you're a monster.
Andrew is struggling with the USPS box, but he's got it. He's got it open, I think.
For the most part.
Oh, goodness.
All right, here we go. All right. There's a fair amount of stuff in here. All right. First of all, what we have here is we have a note. We have a note from the On the Wrong Lead family, and I'm just going to put this up here as like a bonus for those of you that are able to see this on our YouTube channel. Yes, they addressed this to one Lord Miles. Appreciate that, guys. So the note reads as follows. Although we missed your charm and witty banter on track for the Belmatoga Racing Festival, we didn't want you to miss out on the fun completely. Please accept the enclosed gifts as a token of our appreciation. Congratulations, you played yourself. This is for Lord Miles. Sincerely, On the Wrong Lead. And in here, we have a couple of different items, and I'm going to address any point that was made in there. We have a Belmatoga hat, okay? That actually looks pretty cool. Okay, that's pretty nice. We have a shirt that I believe is straight out of the Jonathan Kinchin collection.
Old Smoke.
Okay, this might fit. I'm kind of large, so, we'll see. Sometimes XLs fit, sometimes they don't. And we have an official program from the Belmont Stakes Racing Festival. That part is very sweet. That part I appreciate. So here's the thing that I don't get. As I rearrange my microphone, because I really hope that got picked up for the most part, it got knocked askew as I was fighting a 12-round battle with the box. So the direct quote from this letter that was sent to me from the Cambridge office of On the Wrong Lead is, "Congratulations, you played yourself. I got free shit in the mail. How did I play myself in all of this? How am I the person that played themselves when I got a hat from a landmark event at Saratoga and a shirt from a landmark event at Saratoga, when I am, in fact, the Saratoga guy?" Guys, I appreciate you. I love you very much. If anyone got played here, it was whoever's card got charged for making these purchases.
You know, I always say that money spent trolling your friends is the best money spent. We talked a little bit on stream about just like random bets I would make to troll them. One including a Star Guitar filly, I believe, who won a stakes either at Belmont or Saratoga at a huge
Minute to
price.
Stardom. Yes, I
Yeah.
watched the show.
Yeah. So that was pretty funny. But yeah, I thought you get a kick out of it, Andrew.
I did.
know.
I appreciate that. And I got to tell you, honestly, kidding aside, this is really cool. Look, I'm 3,000 miles away from Saratoga. I don't get back much. I'll be getting back there for the last week of the summer meet. That's dang cool. So thank you, guys.
Yeah, I was actually looking at flights today. Southwest is having a sale, so I was able to find some flights. Unfortunately, they got rid of the morning flight, which kind of sucks.
Ooh.
Yeah, they used to have a flight that was timed perfectly. I would basically land at like 10 in the morning.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And it always worked out where I would be able to, sweet talk Mark into picking me up, or if our friend PDT was driving up and he'd pick me up, swing by, pick me up, we go straight to the track, and get to the track with plenty of time, But yeah, it looks like the earliest flight now is at noon, so that doesn't get in until 3 Eastern. So you kind of lose an entire day traveling there. So I'm gonna look into more. I'm gonna look into more dates because I'm trying to figure out when I want to fly. I think I'm gonna fly. I was trying to do Wednesday through Sunday, but I might have to change it. We'll see. But I still gotta look for an Airbnb at this point. So
yeah, that's the good thing about having family that's back there. I don't have to worry about an Airbnb or anything like that. I am flying into the New York City area on the Sunday, the week before, staying a couple of days down there, seeing my adorable nieces and nephew in Westchester County, and then just sort of slowly working my way north from there. But yeah, Southwest sale is a pretty good thing. I wound up booking my Thanksgiving weekend travel this week with that. Even with the sale, though, prices going back into Oakland and San Francisco the Monday after Thanksgiving are just outrageous. They want the better part of $300 for a one-way flight from Vegas to Oakland or SFO. So your boy is flying back into Sacramento.
what is that, 2-hour flight?
Hour and a half.
Wow.
It's crazy. I mean, I know it's coming back from Thanksgiving weekend, but that's a little ridiculous. So yeah. I'm going out of and back into Sacramento for the very first time. With where I'm at, it's sort of equidistant from San Francisco and Sacramento as far as time spent in a car. And I got to tell you, the really good thing about going up to Sacramento is I go right past one of the very few Arby's locations in Northern California. And I'm a very, very simple man. That one's going to be fun. But at any rate, it's good to know that we're starting to plan that stuff. And hey, we're a month away from action coming back to Saratoga after what, as you correctly called, a very successful Belmont Stakes Racing Festival at Saratoga.
Yeah. On the topic of fan mail, before we get into Saratoga, I have actually gotten fan mail before. Mike, my friend PDT, Mike, he actually sent me a bottle of E.H. Taylor, I believe it was. No, it was Blanton's. He sent me a bottle of Blanton's
Oh,
way back when we first started streaming, and he's like, "Hey, I want you to open this bottle on stream." And it was the first bottle of Blanton's I think I'd ever had,
oh
so that was
wow.
really cool. And then Joe Marcello, a good friend of mine, he actually sent me a bottle of Weller 107, and I tried to pay him for it, and instead he's like, "How about we do a couple group tickets instead?" And so I was like, "All right, I'll have no problem losing your money." Which speaking of losing people's money, we're 10 days out from the pool party at Hawthorne. So if you guys are in the area, make sure you sign up for that.
Bring your floaties, people. Bring your
Mhm.
floaties.
It'll be in the OTB at Joliet. Caleb, myself, and Mark are all going to be there in some shape or form because we have a pretty full itinerary. We're going to the aviary on Friday night, which is a just like world renowned cocktail bar in downtown Chicago. It's in the West Loop, and Mark's been dying to go there. And when he came into town last year for the disc golf tournament we went to, we had reservations for it. He was going to fly in Sunday at morning ish afternoon, pick him up, come down, come here, bring him to his hotel, and then we were going to go up to the aviary. And his flight got delayed, and he didn't get in till like 9 or 10. So like I basically picked him up from the airport. We got dinner somewhere at some like random bar, and then we just kind of kind of chilled, and we didn't get to go. So he says that that's the only reason he came into town is because I had that reservation. And then we are going to dinner at one of my favorite places in the West Loop called Cruz Blanca. It's a brewery and a taco place. Really good food.
You've
The
told
beer
me
there is
about
really
this
good.
place, I think, on
Yeah.
stream a couple of times. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. If you ever see, there's a green shirt I'll wear. I have two of them actually, because they say tacos and cerveza, right? That's from Cruz Blanca. So
Nice.
really cool place. But yeah, really excited about that. And hopefully we're not going to lose people's money. Hopefully we're going to make money and get people happy there. It's going to be Ohio Derby Day. So we'll be playing the Ohio Derby. We'll be playing Hawthorne, and we'll be trying to make the good people some money there. But yeah, Belmont. You know, it went off. I think it went off better than I thought. And Belmont Day is always a really big day of racing. I always say it's the third best day of racing. And I'm not trying to belittle it or anything like that because it's only the third day. I mean, like I think there are the three best days of racing, and I think it's pretty damn clear until you get to fourth, right? Which is probably like Travers Day or something like that, which is
Well, it
still
depends.
a really good day.
Are you counting both days of the Breeders' Cup as separate days, or are you counting that as one big event?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking Breeders' Cup Saturday.
Okay.
So
Now, Breeders' Cup Friday for me has been okay the last couple of years. So
yeah,
I hear you, though.
but
It's when everything delivers, it's as good as it gets in the
yep,
summer. And there have been a couple of times over the past couple of years where the Belmont Stakes Day card has not delivered. The card 2 years ago, where Flightline came in and won the Met Mile, Mo Donegal wound up winning the Belmont. That was a very underwhelming program. There were several stakes races on that card that had 5 or 6 horses. There were big freaking fields all week long at the Belmont Stakes Racing Festival at Saratoga, and they put up some massive wagering numbers, some massive attendance numbers too. They said attendance was capped at 50,000. It sure looked like a couple of people did what I told Mark Capitan to do and cut a hole in the fence, because there appeared to be a lot more than 50,000 people in attendance at Saratoga on Saturday afternoon.
the announced attendance was 50,000, and from what I heard from some people there have been Travers days with close to that. Not necessarily 50,000, but pretty damn close, like high 40s, right? And they said that this felt twice as crowded as the busiest Travers Day they'd ever been to. So someone fudged some number somewhere, I think, and yeah, that place was packed. And yeah, it's great for them to be able to get that many people. Excuse me.
Bless you.
That many people on track, right? We always talk about, oh, horse racing's dead. No one goes to the track. People show up for these big days, and it's nice to see that the people showed up. The racing was great. You had pretty decent fields the entire time, good fields. You always get the one or two races where it's like, okay, you get 6 horses or whatever, but you couldn't really complain about the card on Saturday, and yeah, it was great. I mean, with the issues, I think I know myself and Matt from You've Got to Be Shot-Tinning Me, Slow and Steadied. We talked about some of the issues we had with it being at Saratoga and just some of the nickel and diming stuff. But that aside, I think it was very successful, and I think it went over very well with fans and the horse players alike.
Yeah.
There were not too many pick fives.
So the thing that I've been saying all along, this is as good a plan B as you're ever going to get. Ever. I'm not crazy about the Belmont cutting back in distance, but that's the only logical way they were going to do that. If you're out there and you're a hardcore traditionalist and you were saying the Belmont should be 1 mile and 5/8, stop it. That was never going to happen. This isn't 1961. Kelso isn't walking out to contest a major race on Belmont Stakes weekend. It's not going to happen. 1.25 miles is what we were going to get. They didn't throw off the timing of anything. That part was fine. Congratulations, by the way, to the connections of Dornoch and anybody that had that horse. I never could have had him, ever. That if you had him at 17-1, that's a heck of a handicapping call by you, and you should be celebrated accordingly for that. As far as Belmont Saturday goes, that was a lot of fun. There's 14 races, which I think was a little too long. I don't like the fact that they ended a little after 8 p.m. local time. That was too late, and you could tell it was too late by the way they had to film race number 14. They had to play funky games with the cameras to where you could see the horses going down the backstretch and turning for home because Saratoga doesn't have lights. That's the only hole on the entire card. And when that's the only hole in the entire proceedings, job well done to the New York Racing Association, which I know is going to make some people out there listening just barf. But the New York Racing Association puts on a heck of a show. They did a heck of a job on Saturday. They attracted some of the best horses in training. They attracted some big fields for some big races. Conceivably, I don't know what more you could have wanted from Belmont Stakes Day at Saratoga.
I mean, the 10 to go by.
Well, I mean, I said conceivably. And by the way, we probably need to address Sierra Leone's trip in that race because that was a subject of contention between Mark Capitan and I. Sierra Leone is a freaking head case, and we now know that to be true. They spent 5 weeks trying to calm him down and get him to run straight. Different jockey, different bit, same horse. That horse is a head case. That horse is going to be a head case until he learns to run straight. The fact that he was able to run third in the Belmont Stakes is a heck of an achievement because he got bumped turning for home by Protective. To be clear, watch the head-on if you can find it. Not the head-on, the aerial shot, the drone shot. Because if you see the drone shot, you will see that the Wine Steward is the horse that comes out, forcing Protective out into the path of Sierra Leone. That one wasn't necessarily Protective's doing. I know there was at least one incident earlier in the race. That one I can't speak to, but the one in the stretch was not necessarily Protective's fault. Sierra Leone gets going, And then he barrels inside of horses to bump Antiquarian and bump Honor Marie. And he winds up third. But this is a horse that, simply put, makes his own trouble. He's incredibly talented, but he's always going to take more money than he should until he winds up getting his mind right.
Yeah, that one, Sierra Leone's kind of greenness and issues there. Although, like, I don't know, like I think a horse that's now has 6 starts. I mean, I don't know if you can really call it greenness anymore, but um, with well, excuse me.
Bless you.
I'm
What
sorry.
exactly are you allergic to? Hey, wait a minute. Hang on. Are you potentially allergic to Belmatoga? If you are, you could be entitled to serious monetary compensation. Contact the law firm of Capitan Rodriguez and Champagne at the number down below for more.
No, that's so funny. But Mind Frame. Mind Frame. I mean, at the top of the stretch, Mind Frame looked, I don't know, 2 to 5, and
It's
you just
certainly even money. Yeah.
you thought he was going to go by, and as soon as the whip came out, you could tell he did not want any part of it. And he started just drifting, and he, maybe if he stays straight, he at least makes it even closer. If not wins, but yeah, that is a horse with with only 2 starts, so maybe we can chalk that up to greenness. I thought he ran great, and like you said, if you had door knock, congratulations. Um, you know, the Remsen looks really, really, really good now. When you look at all the horses that came out of that race,
The last few Remsens, for as much as we all dog that race, the last few have been pretty good. Last year's renewal produced Dornoch and Sierra Leone. The one a couple of years ago produced Mo Donegal and Zandon. That's a decent race now, guys.
yeah. Anything else about the Saratoga card you want to talk about?
Not necessarily the Saratoga card, but the Saratoga 4 days. And that is, it was great to be back in the pink sheet again. That's something that, look, if you know me, you know I pound my chest and I play up a lot of stuff that would be more appropriate on a WWE or AEW show. That's something that's special to me, and that's something that I'm not going to take for granted again after what happened last year. The Saratogian, in its article previewing the meet, called it a contractual dispute. Let's go with that and just move on. It's good to be back. It's going to be good to be back for 40 days starting next month and going into Labor Day. To those of you out there that consume my stuff in any way, shape, or form, thank you. I appreciate you. And hopefully we'll do as well next month into Labor Day as we did over the 4 days, because over those 4 days, my top picks turned a profit, wound up with an ROI somewhere in the $2.50 range. Win rate was about 38%. Bankroll plays turned a profit as well. Thank you, Measured Time. Measured Time, never once looking like a loser, was a very, very good thing for yours truly in a couple of different ways. So to those of you out there that bought a pink sheet, thank you. To those of you out there that sent messages on social media that were very affirming, know that I saw all of them and I appreciate you. And hey, let's do this again next month, huh?
Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic for this Saratoga meet. So
It certainly can't go worse than last year on any number of levels, man.
yeah. Before we wrap up, there wasn't much this weekend I've really had a chance to look at yet. But Andrew, I did want to give you a open forum and some time to maybe talk a little bit about Golden Gate Fields.
I appreciate that. We didn't really discuss this in our extensive pre-show meeting, but yeah, Golden Gate Fields is one of the tracks that I adopted as a home track when I moved up to Northern California 6 years ago or thereabouts. I have been on record as saying they built the track backwards. Anytime you can face the 580 freeway over facing the Golden Gate Bridge, you have to do it, right? Golden Gate Fields closed on Sunday. It was emotional for a lot of people. Shout out to FanDuel TV's Todd Schrupp, Dave Weaver, that entire crew. They did a great job with their on-site coverage. A lot of very good interviews with people that have been around for a very long time. It stinks when a track closes. There's no way around it. There's no finding a silver lining in a dark cloud. When tracks close, it stinks. And the way that this was done is something that I will never have forgiveness in my heart for a number of people on. I put a Twitter thread out a couple of days ago during Golden Gate Field's last card. And one of the things that I mentioned was a number of power players at Golden Gate Fields found out the track was closing last year at a charity poker tournament held by Johnny Tabawada, who's a very prominent local owner. If you have ever seen horses with autism in the name, chances are those are horses that he either owned or bred. Some people got a couple minutes notice. Most people didn't. The way that was handled is something I have absolutely no patience for. The fact that First Racing had a horsemen's relations department and did not issue a single statement on the matter for a week and a half after John Shearwa's article came out was an unforgivable snafu. They did not want to run this meet that they just concluded at Golden Gate Fields. They wanted to close in December. As far as where that land is going to go, what it's going to turn into, you can't do much with that land because of the zoning laws that are in that area. Some of the track is in one municipality, some of that track is in another. You can't simply knock down Golden Gate Fields and build condos. There are certain things that need to get done and certain places that can or cannot wind up doing business on that property. There was a rumor going around when I made my last trip to Golden Gate Fields a couple of weeks ago that the University of California system may very well be looking at that land as a way to put a satellite campus there. And that's fine. That's not a bad use of the land. It's right by San Francisco Bay. If you're going to put a science program somewhere, you may as well put it there. But you don't stop racing at a major racetrack to sell to a public college. A lot of the way this was done leaves a bad taste in my mouth. And a lot of the things that came out of First Racing ring very hollow for a number of different reasons. The stated rationale for this was killing Golden Gate Fields allows Santa Anita a chance to thrive because all of these horses need to go somewhere. They'll come down to Santa Anita. We'll help trainers get sorted out. It'll be great. Josh, Santa Anita is not going to run $4,000 claimers. They're not going to run $2,500 claimers, which get carded with fair regularity on the Northern California circuit. And of the $31 million in their infrastructure project that they announced last year, $1 million of that was for additional stall space and support for horse people making the move. That's not a lot of money. It's nowhere near enough. This falls flat on so many levels. Golden Gate Fields did not have to die. And when Stronach announced, hey, we're closing Golden Gate Fields, the Fair Circuit stepped up. And the Fair Circuit said, listen, Southern California needs a B circuit. These horses have to go somewhere. And if they wind up going somewhere to, say, Arizona or Turf Paradise for the Pacific Northwest with Emerald Downs or Grants Pass, they go out of the California system. Let's put together a 10-month calendar based at Pleasanton and Sacramento to where we can run races, fill fields, and see what happens. Stronach hated that, and Stronach responded by threatening to close Santa Anita. I worked at Santa Anita for a year and a half. At its best, Santa Anita is one of very few cathedrals that are left in this game. I want Santa Anita to do well. When Santa Anita is going well, horse racing is going well. That was classless. It was tactless. And Craig Fravel got chewed out pretty good at a CHRB meeting where the California Horse Racing Board gave Pleasanton the fall dates that it wanted as sort of a, okay, you have dates, prove it, sort of thing. If you are broken up about Golden Gate Fields closing, and you absolutely should be, given the way that it went down, support the Northern California fair tracks. Play races from Pleasanton, Sacramento, Santa Rosa, Ferndale, and Fresno. You want to make people notice that, hey, there should be a racing circuit up here? Support it with your betting dollars and or your attendance at these Northern California fair tracks. I'm fortunate to be able to do a lot of really cool stuff with the people at Pleasanton. I host some of the pre-race handicapping seminars on weekends. I'll also be down there all 4 days of 4th of July weekend too. I love doing that stuff. California horse racing fairs are good for the soul. If you'll be in town, let me know. I will be more than happy to meet up, have a good time. Support these tracks and what they're trying to do, because if horse racing can fail in California, it can fail anywhere. For spur of the moment, I got to tell you, that was not bad.
I actually haven't been to California, period. So I've never been.
I'm coming to you plausibly live from a guest bedroom here. You've got a place to crash.
Yeah. We are, I know Caleb and I for sure are going to miss the golden hour bet with Golden Gate closing. That was, one of the for all of the issues that Stronach had with other things, with like the roulette bet and what was their pick 5 that they had for a while? The
Magna 5, that's going way back though.
No, it was the pick 5 that they had for a bit. The Stronach, wasn't it just called the Stronach 5?
Yeah, the Stronach 5, yeah.
Yeah, they haven't had that for a while now anymore. But that golden hour bet was just such a good bet. I think just goes to show you what higher minimums can do. And I think you see it too with a Assiniboia, right? Not Assiniboia having that pick 4 that's $1 and low takeout. So hopefully the fairs are able to do something with some of their wagers and stuff like that, and make it a little bit more enticing for the horse player.
One thing I do want to say about the golden hour stuff, there are rumblings that Santa Anita and Del Mar may very well start working a bit closer with Los Alamitos. Mm-hmm. You may very well see the last races on a Santa Anita or a Del Mar card going into the first couple races at Los Al. You might see that. They may need to call it something different, and you may need to feel comfortable playing races going 870 yards. But if you know that concept works, you may as well use it somewhere, right?
Yeah. I have no problem betting those races. But yeah, it's and that's actually funny to hear, especially with all of the issues that Santa Anita and I think it might have been Santa Anita in particular had with Los Alamitos running those 1,000-meter races and having those, hey, if you run at Los Al, you can't run at Santa Anita.
It's very interesting, but as we know, the political landscape makes for strange bedfellows sometimes. And one of the things that Santa Anita did do to try and lure Golden Gate horse people down south is to say, look, if you want to come down. Los Alamitos is going to be running some more races going longer distances. So they'll be running those 870, those 1,000-meter races. Well, you can start with that, but you also need to face facts, being that you can probably start the clock on Los Alamitos when Ed Allred passes away. He is the primary reason that Los Alamitos is still open, and he is no spring chicken. So you don't know how long Los Alamitos has, because that sits on prime real estate right in the heart of Orange County, not far from Anaheim. Somebody could buy that land and develop it and turn it into something that makes a lot more money than a racetrack. And that's not a matter of if. I think that's a matter of when.
Anything else, Andrew, you want to talk about? What you got going on this weekend?
Well, this weekend is the first weekend of the Alameda County Fair at Pleasanton. I'll be there on Saturday and Sunday. Also going to make a trip to San Francisco to see my struggling Los Angeles Angels come to town. Really, really wish that they hadn't messed with divisional play in Major League Baseball, because the Angels don't make their first trip to Oakland until next month, when the season's almost halfway over. And in the case of the Angels, the season's probably pretty much already over. So going to take a trip to San Francisco on Saturday. On Sunday, I've got some Father's Day plans with my fiance's family. By the way, to all the dads out there, have a great Father's Day weekend. You deserve it. The U.S. Open final is coming up on Sunday. That's something that I know my father very much enjoys watching and sees that as a traditional thing. So lots of fun stuff coming up this weekend for me out here in Northern California. If you'll be at Pleasanton either of those days, come find me. I'm a really easy guy to find. Just look up.
That's going to do it for us here. Drinking Champagne. Check us out at onthewronglead.com, at wrong_lead on Twitter. I am at Cherry Drank. Andrew is at Belmatoga, at Andrew Champagne. You can check him out at winnersandwiners.com for all your sports gambling and other needs there. But we'll have another episode of You Gotta Be Shot Tinning Me, hopefully out sometime tonight. And let's make some. I was gonna say let's make some money, but Andrew, let's. I don't know. What are we gonna do this weekend?
Not get in trouble on Twitter?
Let's not get in trouble on Twitter. Have a good one, guys.